Before you run to the comments because you're upset about the title and thumbnail, I request that you hear me out first. I would not be covering Genshin Impact if I didn't love the game or its designs. There's genuinely very few designs that I actively dislike. The same goes for the Snezhnaya cast. There's plenty of characters I am excited to meet in the story and I want to pull for a lot of them, but there is a growing problem that I can no longer set aside and ignore. We need to discuss the one major flaw in the 7.0 cast, and it's the fact that many of their designs do not complement or even consider the setting that they are in. This video is going to contain spoilers for Acts 1 and 2 of version 7.0, you have been warned. Not Cry was when the issue began to raise some questions for me. Not Cry is part of Snezhnaya, but they revere the moon goddess instead. The region is still cold, but not as cold as Snezhnaya. Some of the NPCs even state this if you talk to them. Seeing that some of the female characters run around with so much skin exposed felt a little goofy, and looking at the male playable cast next to them, they are all bundled up. For the most part, I could look past it, but unfortunately, I can no longer look past this with the introduction of the snowy mainland. Not only does it break my immersion to see the female playable characters running around with exposed skin, but now there is a lore reason that makes their designs feel even worse. The main conflict in the first act is Project Snezhnaya. The project is requiring all citizens of Snezhnaya to reduce their energy use, and many are struggling to stay warm because of the lack of Kresnik crystal on the market. We spent a lot of time with Alyosha, busting some bad actors, trying to hoard the Kresnik crystal for themselves, and we try to help return some energy to the people who are suffering. All of the NPCs we encounter are also completely bundled up from head to toe, regardless of gender. We couldn't even find a small inn or hotel for our sick Paimon to rest in because people were barely scraping by and couldn't afford to run any of their businesses. Additionally, we discover later in the quest that there has also been nasty blizzards thanks to a monster stirring them up. The Tsaritsa is said to have taken our team to vanquish the monster so the blizzards stop, and that's the reason why she remains off-screen until the very end of Act 2 when she makes a return. So, as it stands, we have two major problems contributing to the cold: the lack of the Kresnik crystal for citizens to warm their homes, and the addition of some really bad blizzards thanks to a monster. Only one of these conflicts is hinted at being solved, but Project Snezhnaya is set to continue in future acts. By making the brutal winter cold a crucial plot point to the story, Genshin has made the playable cast look ridiculous. And it kills me because the playable men and the NPCs don't have this problem. They are appropriately dressed for harsh winters. Alyosha has lots of fur to keep himself warm, Mitya has a scarf and plenty of layers, Valerie has layers and armor, and though we didn't meet Noi yet in the game, he is covered from head to toe in the trailer. Because of their outfit choices, they fit into this region extremely well, and thus the weather conflicts actually enhance the design choices. They look prepared to handle the snow, but on the other hand, almost all the female cast has some skin showing, some more than others. As always with this topic, I have to reiterate that showing skin on a design is not a bad thing. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. The developers could have solved this problem in a very easy way without having to change the actual designs either. If they added a coat toggle to all of these characters and had them wear it while outside, I wouldn't have a problem. That way, the female cast can keep their gorgeous designs, but also fit into the region that they are from, getting the best of both worlds. Instead, we get a ballerina with her arms, chest, and parts of her back exposed. When I met Odette for the first time in the ice mining village, she looked ridiculous against the icy backgrounds and the fully clothed NPCs. Though Sandrone came out a version earlier in 6.7, the same could be said for her too. Vodyanitsa is probably among my favorite designs introduced in Snezhnaya so far, but she has a lot of skin showing from her legs to her arms and parts of her chest. Many have already begun to point out that Vodyanitsa's dress shares similar qualities to Columbina's, as they share a lot of the same shape language. You could make the argument that because she is a water imp, she probably has a resistance to the cold. She wouldn't have a mermaid tail and be swimming around in the water if she didn't, and I feel similarly about Vesna. I can look past Vesna having her back exposed so that her wings can move freely, but why does she need a boob window and detached sleeves too? We briefly met Danica at the very end of Act 2, and seeing her walk with such a short skirt and an exposed chest felt so silly. I could tell they wanted the Tsaritsa's return to be a powerful moment, but I could not take it seriously with Danica's skirt barely covering her front. It's a shame because her orca motifs are actually super damn cool, and I love how her hair turns into a big fin in the back. Danica is also actually one of the more covered female designs, which makes the chest window feel extra forced. She doesn't even need a super long skirt for her design to look a little better either. If it was just a little longer, I think many players, including myself, wouldn't really think twice about it. Or if they decided to go the longer skirt route like they did with Rina in Zenless Zone Zero, they could just give her one large slit on the side so that way Danica Alyosha could still show off her legs, but be more appropriately dressed for the winter. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. The designs themselves are beautiful. When it comes to character design, you have to understand the importance of visual storytelling. I can tell that Mualani is a swimmer, likely from a warmer region, because she is appropriately dressed for it. If she was bundled up from head to toe, she would also look silly. This goes both ways. I can tell that Valerie takes on a protective role with his armor, and I could easily tell that Alyosha is a hunter because he's appropriately dressed to handle extreme cold conditions. The male and female characters clearly have different priorities when it comes to their designs, and it frustrates me at times. There is so much cool and cute winter clothing for women that they could have used. In fact, some of the NPCs have those very printy winter clothes. Instead, Genshin stuck to their overused tropes and decided that proper immersion wasn't high on the priority list. As I said earlier, this could have been such an easy fix too by giving all the girls a toggleable coat. It's not a perfect solution by any means, and I might even consider it a more lazy solution, but it at least addresses the cold environment that they're in. During the murder mystery section of Act 2, which was phenomenal, by the way, I noticed that one of the male NPCs had exposed arms. I thought it was weird, and it immediately raised my suspicions since every other NPC was properly dressed for the cold, and guess what? He turned out to be one of the deceased souls trapped in the theater. His lover was a fae, and during the conflicts between fae and humans, he gave his lover his coat so that she could escape. He was unfortunately not so lucky and died in the theater, roaming around for the past 400 years. This is a fantastic way to subtly hint that something was off, even if you couldn't quite put a finger on it at first. NPCs like this prove to me that the developers are aware of how clothing can enhance or complement an individual's character story. In Nod Cry, the cold wasn't a point of conflict, so I was able to look past some of the more exposed designs. But now in Snezhnaya, it is a huge plot point, and they handled some of the playable designs poorly as a result. Having a pretty character doesn't automatically mean they have a good design. I personally like a lot of these characters, and I would tell you that they are pretty. Almost every single character in Genshin is very pretty, but not all of them completely succeed in visual storytelling. Choosing to ignore the character's environment, which is a major plot point for Snezhnaya, was a poor decision, and I am disappointed. Sure, you can say that Odette is successful in visual storytelling with her ballerina outfit and her swan motifs. Vodyanitsa succeeds with her siren-like motifs and the microphone on her chest to tell us that she is a fae who likes to sing. You would be correct that their visual storytelling succeeds in these areas, but neither of these two successfully convey to us that they are in a harsh winterland. This is what I mean by the priorities are different. While it is important that a character's core theme is properly represented, they fail to consider other crucial details. In the case of these two, an argument can be made that they are performers, and thus visual appeal should take priority over practicality. I can see that. I just wish both elements could have been properly represented at the same time. I also want to add that it has been established that the fae have a natural resistance to the cold. It helps characters like Vodyanitsa make more sense. But then I look over at Flynn's, who is also a fae, but he is completely bundled up. As of writing this video, it's not confirmed if Puccinella or Noi are fae, but if it turns out that they are, that is two more examples of a bundled up fae. Then we have to consider Celiano, who is Linnea's sister, who is a female fae NPC, and she is mostly clothed. The inconsistencies makes this attempt at world building feel cheap, and it feels like that this resistance to the cold lore bit was more so just an excuse so that the female playable fae can run around with less clothes on. It also doesn't help that the ratio of male to female characters are skewed in the fae category, as we have 3 confirmed female fae characters and only 1 male fae character in Flynn's. I hope that this will change in the future, and maybe we will get a male fae character that doesn't have a problem showing some skin and we can see the fae markings, but as of right now, the treatment between the female and the male playable cast is still quite different. Do the characters' designs ignoring the environment completely ruin them for me? No, there's still plenty to love about them, but it does significantly detract from the overall cohesion of the design, and I find it harder to immerse myself within the world. When all the NPCs are bundled up and the girls are running around in short dresses and high heels, I find it harder to take them seriously. And by all NPCs, I mean the female ones too. They are bundled up. It's specifically the playable cast that gets this treatment. If a character's outfit not matching their environment doesn't bother you, then that's completely fine. This is a fictional world, and for many players, practicality isn't a concern. I understand you guys. I just think that character design is far more successful when they consider their environment. Many of these characters have a lot to love about them, but I find myself struggling because I know Hoyoverse can do better. I know Hoyoverse is capable of making both pretty designs that also match the world that they are in, And for a game that has a big theme in Descenders being not from this world, it's extra important that these designs convey who is from Teyvat and who isn't. For a world that places extra emphasis on the 7 elements and regions, it's a good idea to have a strong visual identity for each region, and they've done this successfully before. It's very easy to tell who's from Inazuma, who is from Liyue, and even more similar regions like Mondstadt and Fontaine still have enough visual variety and uniqueness among their character designs to tell them apart. It's kinda like how electronic dubstep music was used in the battle against the giant whale from Fontaine. This whale is not native to Teyvat, and thus the developers made the choice to use a completely different music genre to properly set the tone. This was super smart, and if we get more beings that are not from Teyvat, I bet they're gonna share a similar music genre. This is one major flaw I believe that the Snezhnaya cast has, but as always, I want to know what you think. Do the designs break your immersion, or does it not bother you at all? Out of every playable character that has been revealed thus far, which one has been your favorite design and why? As always, I encourage you to chat in the comments below as long as you remain respectful to each other while doing so. If you enjoy character design, I have a whole playlist dedicated to conversations surrounding the topic, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.